disposal during emergency situations, all of which help the men and women in blue uphold their mission to protect every New Yorker. The use of drones will also enhance officer safety, whether responding to a hazardous material spill, a hostage situation, or an area that is rendered inaccessible. Drone technology will give our cops and their incident commanders an opportunity to see what they are getting into before they go into harm's way. Frankly, for this reason alone, it would be negligent for us not to utilize this technology. The NYPD is aware that there are some concerns about this announcement. So let me be clear, NYPD drones will not be used for warrantless surveillances. NYPD drones will be used to save lives and enhance our response in emergency situations. Today, we will carry out 3 scenarios that demonstrate the value of this technology. You will see how it would be used during a hazardous material spill, a vehicle collision with fatalities, and a missing person case. As a leader in law enforcement community, we take pride in never becoming complacent, and we continually strive to improve. We also take pride in being thorough. Drone technology has been around for some time. Many of our law enforcement partners and the communities they serve have benefited from it. We have consulted with these agencies to learn about their programs. The NYPD has also proactively sought feedback from local officials as well as advocates. Our training program for the pilots of these aircraft was also designed in close coordination with the Federal Aviation Association. All of these steps have been taken to ensure a seamless and successful launch of this valuable tool. We want everyone to understand what the mission will be and what the mission will not be. To help illustrate the incredible value of this versatility of this technology, I will now turn it over to the experts from the Technical Assistance Response Unit. Inspector Vinny.
We're going to reset 1 second.
Good morning. We'd like to now run through 3 scenarios where the technology may be used to enhance officer safety and keep our New Yorkers safer. The first scenario on your left simulates a collision with fatalities. The TARU team is now preparing a UAV, which is a DJI Matrice 210 with an X4S sensor using an iPad equipped with Pix4D software. As it deploys, Sergeant Joe Montori from the Collision Investigation Squad will explain what happens at the scene of these incidents.
The Highway District Collision Investigation Squad responds to all major vehicle collisions in which someone has died, is seriously injured and likely to die, or is critically injured. In this scenario, we have simulated a high-impact collision between 2 vehicles in which one of the drivers has died. Members of CIS must capture the full scope of this scene so it is preserved as evidence. To help facilitate this process, CIS has requested TARU to respond and deploy a UAV, whose aerial imagery will record a detailed picture of the entire scene from an aerial view. This technology will allow investigators to process the scene much faster, which will drastically reduce the time we are closing the affected roadway. This technology will also give us a complete 360-degree image of the scene, thanks to software that merges the images together.
Now that the drone is in flight, it has begun to capture high-resolution images. Within a few minutes, the entire scene would be photographed. After the drone has finished its flight, the images are then downloaded to a computer, and they create a 3-dimensional image, which you'll be able to look at later on the screen behind the truck.
This technology will be a huge help to our work. Investigating these collisions is both labor-intensive and, quite frankly, very dangerous. We are often outside during extreme weather conditions on very active roadways. The UAV will get the job done faster, safer, and with greater detail than what we are currently capable of.
For our next demonstration, we will focus on a condition that can arise throughout New York City. Due to the possibility of imminent danger, this can be a serious challenge to address. I'd now like to introduce Lieutenant Labasso from the Emergency Service Unit to discuss this further while we launch the UAV.
Good morning. Members of the Emergency Service Unit are tasked with identification and mitigation of hazardous materials. We do these calls quite frequently. We are the initial, not only investigators, but also tasked with mitigation. So the initial approach to these is hazardous. What the UAVs will allow us to do is get us crystal clear images of the container, the contents, and the placards, which will then allow incident commanders downrange to be able to focus in on personal protective equipment that's going to be worn by our members, and also the technique that we're going to use to mitigate it. So here we would have a situation where patrol has cordoned off the area, and now ESU has been called in for an initial investigation.
Our first UAV team will fly at a high elevation to provide overwatch for the scene. Additionally, thermal cameras located on the UAV can get other information such as the remaining contents of the vehicle, of the container. Once that first UAV is in place, a second team will now deploy. This UAV will go closer to the incident scene. This UAV can gather detailed information, including information on the placard, as well as any possible damage to the container. Video from both these UAVs will be live streamed to our incident commanders located in the outer perimeter so they can make informed decisions.
Missing persons in New York City are also a regular occurrence, whether a child, an elderly person, or a lost tourist. Many are resolved on their own. Occasionally, we receive calls that are extremely dire, where the person is developmentally disabled, has a specific condition that makes them vulnerable, and may also be subjected to extreme weather conditions. For this demonstration, we have an 18-year-old developmentally disabled child missing in a large park. Temperatures are below freezing, and there is a storm approaching. Responding officers could conduct a systematic grid search, but that will not be as fast or precise as the UAV. Our first team will fly the UAV in a grid pattern at high elevation over the search area. This specific UAV has thermal imaging cameras within the aircraft and can detect heat signatures emitted from a person, allowing us to quickly locate them. Once a subject is located, our second team can fly closer to them to get a visual of their face, helping to identify who they are. The other UAV can guide responding officers and EMS to the exact location of the missing person.
I mean, that's going to be the image they're going to give you, just so you know.
They are?
I believe so, but I'll... Yeah.
You can also look at the screens behind them are showing the footage that the drone is taking.
If you guys refer to the screens in front of the truck, the actual footage of the thermal image and the closer-up shot of the second drone is being displayed. So the thermal image is on the left screen, and the closer-up shot is on the right screen. So the first team identifies the missing on a thermal, and then the second team flies the additional drone to get a closer image so the officers can respond to the location.
Yeah, but that's what we were saying. They're going to have the 3 different scenarios. I think they're doing Q&A.
We'll wait for this one to come back. Well, he's got to bring it back, don't he?
Well, the other one.
All right, we're available for questions. With us, we have Detective DeJean, who's the pilot that was using the tower, Inspector DeGiacomo, the CO, and Inspector Guerrero, the XO of the tower unit, along with some of their personnel. Questions? Thank you very much.
Could you go through the details of the drones? How many that you're going to have, when their cost, and what kind of equipment they carry?
Currently, we have 14 UAVs. We have 11 Mavic Pros, 2 DJI Matrices, and 1 Inspire. They carry various payloads. The Mavics are a half-inch sensor, and the DJI Matrices, the larger ones, can carry larger sensors. They can carry thermal imaging, or they can carry larger cameras.
Have use policies been drafted yet for the drones, restrictions, units that are able to use them, that are not able to use them?
Yeah, it will only be utilized. We have a whole policy went out. I believe it was released to the media today, the entire policy that we've done. Listen, this took us a long time to come up with. We wanted to make sure we were very thorough. It'll only be utilized by the pilots, such as this detective here from the tower unit. They're the only ones that can use the drones.
When you have a suspect search, sometimes helicopters are used. Would the drones then eliminate the need to bring in aviation?
It wouldn't eliminate the need, but this can now get us a lot closer into areas that a helicopter would never be able to get into. Miles.
How'd you get to the point where you wanted to use drones? Right, about 2 or 3 years ago, the department was sort of hands off about drones. Why?
You want to talk about the history of it?
Yeah, the unit was looking to implement drones for a long period of time. Within the last couple of years, back in 2016, the FAA made it easier for us to remotely pilot the UAVs. They created a Part 107 license. That made it easier for us to do it. When we went to the chiefs and the commissioner and explained that a lot of other police departments were using the technology, we were able to convince them that it was probably time that the NYPD started deploying drones, UAVs.
What kind of damage can the drones sustain before they're brought down? Are they hardened at all than the regular
talk about that?
civilian model? Or
The aircraft they're very resilient. We go through all the safety checks before we put them up, and if they're damaged in any way, we don't put them up. Safety is always our #1 priority when we decide whether or not to deploy them.
in other words, would a civilian be able to bring one down, like say with a shotgun or throwing things or objects? Or
The areas we're going to be operating is going to be, they're going to be closed off. They're going to be secured areas, and we're going to make sure that the aircraft can be safely operated. And if they can't, we're not going to operate it.
Last year, I believe the Los Angeles Office of Immigration and Customs Enforcement issued a memo complaining that the manufacturer of these devices, DJI, was sending information back to Chinese intelligence services. Have you all vetted that? Do you have any noticed that the manufacturer? Have you all gone? Have you checked with federal authorities about that propriety and whether that information is good, whether that situation still exists?
We have looked at that situation and we have vetted it. We don't think we're convinced nothing is going back to the Chinese. The other issue is when we will be deploying these things in New York City, we feel that we're not flying over any very sensitive areas that would be concern to the Chinese. Anything that we're going to be flying over, basically you could look at Google Maps and you'd be able to see where we're flying.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
We'll give you some view opportunities.
drone. Just give us a second, let everyone clear out. You guys can take off the stick. Well, we'll get you some shots of the close-up, and then we'll show it to you in the close.